Hi there, and welcome home to me, I guess. Just got home last night from Cancun, and so combining this week our live Facebook editions, a little bit of Q&A today, and a little bit of, real life according to Melissa. So hopefully I can make up for the fact that I've missed a couple of Wednesdays, but I just got back from vacation, had a great time. Really difficult to get back into the swing of things, but excited to be here. I miss doing this. I really enjoy getting everybody's opinion and getting some feedback and seeing what people think. And today's topic is really important to me. I've really noticed a couple things happening. I'm sure that it goes in spurts and cycles, but I get a little frustrated when I watch people just be rude or mean, or somebody cuts you off, or you see somebody driving really crazy and they flip somebody off, just aggressive driving, or just watching somebody fall down and nobody's willing to help get them back up. And there's some things that have happened in the world in the last week or so. Some of it's local, some of it's might not even be in your end of the country, but between some hurricanes that have really destroyed some people's lives, and some tragedies, even as close to me in this area and in some neighboring towns, it really kind of brings you back to the fact that a lot of times, sometimes it takes some real adversity in order for people to be kind to each other. And I don't understand why that's necessary. I think, we're put on this earth for two reasons. Number one, to learn to be happy, and number two, to help each other. And so life is short. I don't really understand why we can't be here and be kind to each other. So I want to bring that into play a little bit today and talk about the reasons why I think it's important to be kind to others. Now, I get that there are lots of different personalities out there, and that is probably a little bit easier for some people. I get that. But in general, it's not that difficult, and the benefits are so much greater than going opposite or being mean, or just not even trying to be kind to other people. So I just want to talk a little bit about that today. So today's a little less about health in general, even though that's kind of my topic of choice. I love teaching people to be healthy, both physically and mentally and emotionally. But I think this falls within that realm, because part of helping others is, really supporting your own happiness, not just theirs. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why should we be kind? Now, I'm very aware it's not always easy, especially, if you've, in some certain circumstances, if you feel you've been wronged, or I'm not going to lie, I can be an aggressive driver and I get really frustrated with people, for multiple reasons. Most of the time I just feel like they shouldn't be even on the road, but, it's sometimes it's difficult to be kind to other people, but there's such big benefits from it. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And most of us probably know all about the golden rule, which is, of course, do unto others as you would have done to you. So I want you to kind of think in a situation where you might be a little frustrated, or be tempted, or feel like, it's warranted to be mean or rude or aggressive. Why not put yourself in their shoes and think about, if I were in that situation, how would I want to be treated? For some odd reason, we think that we alone should be treated the best, and and it's unfair when somebody doesn't treat us that way. But how would we respond if we were in their situation? How would we want someone else to respond if we were in that situation? So keep that in mind, that if you think about how we treat each other just in general, and even just the atmosphere of the whole world would change if we would just stop and think, how does that affect the other person that I'm talking to or dealing with? It can be such an intense change with just the atmosphere, the feeling that we're dealing with on a regular basis. So, that's an important part. And I get it. Like, for me, I love people. I believe everyone's important. Do I get frustrated with people? All the time. Do I see situations where I feel maybe that person is wrong, or really, if I'm really in a situation, and it's happened, where I feel I have been truly wronged, and it might even be purposeful on their part, I don't keep those people in my life. That is my choice. I might disagree with their views, with the way that they choose to live their life. I try really hard not to judge. However, if I feel that does not work well in the situation that I'm in, or I don't feel that they are going to be kind or purposeful when it comes to just benefits of being friends or people, then I don't have to keep them in my life. I think that's important. So, you know, honestly, to an extent, I don't really care what other people think about me. But I do care about how I make people feel. And that's how I look at it, as I like to be kind because I want someone to remember that, you know, I'm a good person and that that's my choice. I want to be good to everyone. So that's important. So here's some reasons. Some of these might hit home to you, and some of them, maybe none of them do. Hopefully you're someone who is a good person and wants to be good to others. And sometimes we just get a little bit off the path. I get that when you're having a rough day, it's not always easy to want to say something nice, or be purposeful in helping someone out. I keep that in mind. But number one, you know, kindness is not a weakness. It's not. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less of a person. It actually makes you, it's a strength. It's something that, it's character, right? So it doesn't make you uncool. It doesn't make you, if you're a sassy person, it doesn't make you any less sassy. And if you're a badass, to be honest, it makes you even more badass. So that's not a bad thing. The second reason to be kind to others is that, you know what, it feels good. Not only might you make someone's day, but it actually can make your day better. You know, if you're really having a rough day and dealing with some things, the best way to get through it is to serve someone else. You know, even if it's just something easy like a smile, or saying something nice. You know, I'm weird. I randomly pop out at people. Today I was walking into the store and a gal just had a cool purse. This was hot pink and black, and that's kind of my color combination. And I just said, hey, that is a really nice, that's a cool purse. And she looked startled and then said thank you. But, you know, wow, I said something nice. And so I've really trying to put myself out there a little bit more and be random like that, because, you know, it makes someone's day. And I have been working at smiling people more often. I'm very aware that I have a very intense face. A lot of times, you know, they call it the resting gym face. I just call it my focused face. Like, I look angry. And so I've really worked on just stopping and smiling when people pass, so that they don't think that I'm crazy or, you know, yeah. The next reason to be kind to someone else is that, you know what, it perpetuates. The more that you do it for someone else, the more that others around you do that. It's catching, right? You know, plus they see, you'll actually gain more respect. And when people see that because of the kind of person you are, being kind, they'll want to be more like you, and they tend to actually take on some of those traits, those characteristics. And that's not a bad thing. You know, if you can inspire others to make good choices, that's awesome. That's empowerment. That's a small way of changing the world, and that appeals to me. The other reason is, honestly, to be kind, there is no cost. There is no financial cost. There is value, but there's no cost. The only cost might be a little bit of time. And we're going to talk in a few minutes about, you know, how you can make it as big or as small effort as you choose to. But it really doesn't have to involve money financially. So that doesn't have to be part of your choice. But the other thing is that it does reflect on you. You know, do you want to be known as the mean person that always yells at the kids when they step through your yard? Or do you want to be known as, you know, that person would give their shirt off their back for you if you needed it? What do you want to be known as? Now, again, I don't necessarily care entirely what people think about me, to an extent, but I do want them to know that I love people and that I would do things for them. I do want to be part of their lives, and that's, you know, that's important. You know, I don't want to be known as, you know, an intimidating, crazy person. I want to be known as someone who is amazing and likes to help others. I also believe that being kind helps us find purpose in life. You know, especially if you're really struggling on a mission statement of your life, or a purpose of your life. You know, helping others can help you find it. And I think part of it is karma, whether or not you believe in something greater. If you believe in God, you know, what would He want you to do? What you put out into the universe comes back to you. So it's important. But, you know, the opposite, being rude, being angry, you know, doesn't solve anything. As a matter of fact, I really feel, let me give you a situation. You know, I used to kind of be a hothead a little bit when I was a little bit younger, and when something maybe at the store or the restaurant, maybe they didn't get my order quite right, and I was really quick to kind of snap and be rude and kind of be angry. And I've discovered it really didn't get me anywhere. It's kind of the whole, you can catch more flies with honey. So instead of being mean, kind of be like, oh my gosh, I know you've put all this effort in, but that's not really what I ordered. You get a much better response if you approach it in a way that makes them comfortable and makes them want to help you. There's so much more benefit to it. Not only does it make them feel better, but it makes you feel better that you took kind of the higher road. It also invites people to be kind to you. Most of us would rather have kind responses back to us, and so there's nothing wrong with that. But just putting that out into the atmosphere, sometimes that just brings, it's kind of, you get what you expect, right? So if you're kind, you're putting that out, you can expect that people are going to do the same for you. It also can help change relationships, whether it's a friendship or a professional relationship. Why is it that we need to be rude or mean or just have a derogatory experience or a relationship there? It's not necessary. Now, I know that we don't all get along. There are certain combinations of personalities that don't always get along. So I know that that's not always going to happen. However, you can still professionally be a little bit more upbeat in the situation. And that's kind of a situation, and that's actually one of my tips is, if I feel like there's really not a benefit there for whatever reason, whether it's we just don't jive, a lot of times I come back and my goal is literally just to kill them with kindness, because at least, even if that doesn't make them feel better, at least I feel better about the situation and how I treated it and controlled it. Which honestly, it kind of does give you more control in this situation, because if you're choosing to be kind, again, you're kind of taking the higher road and you tend to actually control the situation, the mood, and honestly how you feel about that, and that's a big deal. So, again, I get that we're not always in the mood. There's here and there, I kind of have to learn to fake it till you make it. I might have to suck up the fact that I'm having a really crappy day. And sometimes though, just by working with someone or putting out that extra effort, I tend to just feel better by the time I'm done. So even if I'm having the worst day of my life, by putting it out there, I might just change how I feel that day. So here's some tips on really how to be kind to others, especially if it's tough for you. We talked a little bit about putting yourself in their shoes. Everyone has their own demons. They have their own situations and their own way of dealing with it. And we don't know what kind of a day that they're having. I really try to remember that when somebody is not responding to me in a way that I appreciate. Again, story last week, I was pulling out of the store and there happens to always be some panhandling sitting there going on, and normally it doesn't bother me, and once in a while I do give, because I think, hey, it's important and it's their responsibility whether or not they're being honest that they really need it, or whether they're not. But at that moment, because I didn't give anything, the gentleman, well, I don't know if it was a gentleman, chose to yell at me, and I had to really stop for a minute before rolling down my window and yelling back. Maybe he's just really having a rough day. I had to really think about, maybe that's how he responds. I don't know him. I don't know his situation. I really can't. I was a little frustrated, but I really couldn't say anything about that. But it happens. My next tip really is, even if it's somebody who doesn't deserve it, kill them with kindness, because one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to respond a little bit better, or they're going to think you're crazy. And honestly, I don't care which one they think I am. So either way, it's kind of a win-win situation for me. I'm still putting it out there that, I care about other people. Number 3, pay it forward. And honestly, it doesn't have to be a kindness that has happened to you to pay it forward to someone else. It might just be you saw something great today. And if you pay it forward to someone else, they're going to turn around and do something good to someone else as well. If you've seen those commercials where it comes full circle, that somebody does something nice and then that person sees it, does something nice for someone else, and then by the end of the situation, it kind of comes together. What a great thing to happen. The more that we do it, the more others help other people, and it just becomes a big thing, and I like that. It doesn't have to be an over-the-top kind of effort. Yes, it could be that you're helping somebody move, or that you're donating to a food shelter, or a shelter, or food whatever they're called. I can't even think right now. It doesn't have to be anything big. Like I said, it could be a smile. It could just be a kind word. It could be you're stopping to pick something up because they spilled their purse. It could be opening a door. Why do we not hold open doors for people anymore? I don't get it. Whatever happened there? It can just be small acts of kindness and efforts that you put forth. So that doesn't have to be something big. Something that I think is really important as well, and granted, I know sometimes it's a struggle to do this, but think before you speak. Is it kind? Is it something you should say? Do you need to reword it in such a way that it won't be offensive? Sometimes there's some things, now I'm not saying let people walk all over you, but it doesn't always have to be put in a way that is truly unkind or derogatory. It can actually be, you can have some couth. It's a possibility. So really, think before you say things, and that way you don't have to apologize. Not that you shouldn't. If you've done something wrong, it's obviously necessary to apologize, but hopefully you've thought about it so that you don't get to the point where you have to apologize. And a big one for me, because I really hate this, don't gossip. Don't talk to other people and say things that are unkind. I understand that there's times where that information is necessary, but I can't even remember what video I was watching this morning, but I was watching a really interesting clip from AM Northwest, and the gal that they had on there really talked about that when you do say negative things or gossip about other people, a lot of times people actually apply that information to you. That if you've called somebody lazy and worthless, they think, oh, well, if she's talking about that, they just think, wow, this person is also lazy and worthless. So that's not really something that you want to do. Her suggestion was more to gush. Always look for something positive to say about people. And if you don't have anything positive to say, the old adage is don't say anything at all. I'd rather people know that I'm not talking about so-and-so and so-and-so unless it's positive. Wow, let me tell you about this gal. She was so amazing. I watched her do this and this and this. That makes people feel good, and that's the kind of information and gossip you want to get back to that person, because that's going to make them feel great. It's kind of like put your situation as a parent. If you have kids, do you want to tell people, oh God, my kids are so lazy, they don't ever clean up, and then they hear that. How do you think that's going to make your kids feel? Do you really want them to feel like that? I don't. So even though my kids do things that really irritate me sometimes, what I want people, or what I want them to hear when I'm talking to other people is, oh yeah, my kids are such great kids. They really try hard. They're working hard. They're doing these things, doing well in school. My son got himself into college. Those are great things. That's the kind of information and kind of thing that you want to go back to them. So hopefully this was something good today. I just get really frustrated that there's so much meanness in the world, and it's not necessary. It just isn't. And so just to leave you with a quick quote, one of my very, very favorite celebrities of all time is Ellen DeGeneres. And the one thing that she wisely says is, be kind to others. Sweet, simple, and to the point. So have an incredible evening. Next week, we will be back to normal to an extent. We will have Q&A Wednesday. We will also have our Thursday special edition of The Real Life According to Melissa. I'm going to be out of town, but I'm going to have the ability to do it. So we'll make it work. Welcome to my September. It's crazy. But have an incredible evening, and until next week.